Hey friends, it's time for your Tuesday tip. And I have had a couple of gentle reminders from some of you that it has been 2 whole weeks, not a long time, 2 whole weeks since I've done a Tuesday tip. But I'm going to do one for you today. So hang with me for a minute. So, tell me what these two things have in common. Take a good look. What do you think? Back of the class? Anybody? I'll tell you. Both of these are made by a very famous company called Royal Copenhagen. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about them and show you what's interesting about them. Because this year in 2025, Royal Copenhagen celebrates its 250th birthday, which is kind of a remarkable thing. Royal Copenhagen was founded in 1775 by an apothecary, and it was founded at the request and under the patronage of the Queen Dowager, and I'm going to get this right, Julianne Marie. And you know, the Danes love their queens. And this blue and white porcelain with the underglaze on it is very, very typical of what most people think of as Royal Copenhagen. I'm going to put this up here close for you to see it. And then let me turn this here on the back, and this is how we know for sure that it's Royal Copenhagen, because we have these three wavy lines, these barks right here, and those are symbolic of the three primary bodies of water that surround Denmark. And that first pattern was called pattern number 1. It was the flagship pattern, and from that beget all sorts of other remarkable, beautiful, fantastic blue and white patterns. But blue and white porcelain like this is what Royal Copenhagen is most known for. And in, I want to say 1801, 1802, the Danish court commissioned Royal Copenhagen for its official royal court service, and a small group of craftsmen worked on that diligently, and they created an absolutely spectacular pattern called, I'm going to make sure I got it right, the Flora Danica. And I have seen that pattern in person on one of my previous trips to Denmark. Many of you know that my daughter lives in Copenhagen, and I try to travel across the pond every 4 months or so and take in a little bit of history while I'm there. And the Royal Copenhagen displays that are on display in the castles are spectacular pieces of art. And that particular pattern that is the official royal service for the royal family is considered today probably the finest and most precious pattern that there is in the world of porcelain. And I believe, I may be mistaken, but I believe it's still being manufactured today and can be purchased. It's terribly, terribly expensive. And anytime you go to purchase Royal Copenhagen new, it's gonna cost you. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. Over the last 250 years, Royal Copenhagen has moved into all sorts of different other patterns. There are other colors now available as well besides just the blue and white. But this blue and white is what it is most known for. It's their iconic patterns here. And the fluted edge is particularly lovely. And then in the 1960s, Royal Copenhagen started bringing in some designers to produce some very interesting collections. And that's where we got this right here. And this is designed by a very famous designer named Niels Thorsen. And on his works, the marks on the back here are a little bit different, because not only do you have the Royal Copenhagen mark, but you also have his particular stamp and his cipher. We do not see this pattern a great deal here in the United States, although you will find it quite frequently in the Scandinavian countries and in Europe. And if you went to look for this pattern, and it is from the Baka pattern series, I think it's called, hang on, I'm going to check my notes. It's Faji's Baka series, And again, we don't see this in the States, but it was produced primarily and stayed primarily in Europe. And if you go online to look for pieces, you will see that most of the listings for this fantastic, beautiful mid-century modern 1960s iconic look, most of those listings are going to be in the United Kingdom or in somewhere in Europe. So I bought this at a open-air flea market in Denmark, outside of Copenhagen, about 20 kilometers or so, and I snuck it home in my suitcase a couple months ago and brought it home. I don't know if I'm going to keep it. It may end up in my shop, but this is just one of the really lovely little treasures that I brought home on that trip. This came from a garage sale here in Florence, Oregon, and I purchased this for just a few dollars, and I am taking this with me back to Copenhagen to give to my daughter because she likes to mix and match all of her patterns. So if you want to put together a collection of this and you want to buy it new, you're going to write some big checks. However, you can find this all the time in different thrift shops and garage sales and flea markets. In fact, as a matter of fact, if you happen to find a flea market in Denmark, you will oftentimes see booths where they have tables with stacks and stacks of different Royal Copenhagen patterns, and that's where you want to go and find your pieces. And then getting them home is a whole another story. If you are visiting Copenhagen, you're taking a cruise or whatever, and I hear from a lot of you folks when you're getting ready to go and you ask me where are some great places to go, you can purchase this new at Magasin du Nord. There are several stores that carry different patterns. There is also the store that the Royal Copenhagen store is there. They have an outlet center, and you can Google that and find that there, and they're open, I think, every day of the week, and that's a great way to get pieces for a little less money. And they will also print you out all the stuff that you need to get your tax back. The tax on things in Denmark is built into the price, so you really don't know how much you're actually paying for tax and how much you're paying for the item, but they'll give you a little printout and a little envelope, and then you can turn that in and get that certified at the airport or in a couple other little spots, and then get your tax back on these things. But this is beautiful Royal Copenhagen. 2 different pieces, both the same company. 250th anniversary of this company. Royal Copenhagen today is owned by the Finnish company Fiskars, Fiskars, Fiskars Scissors, now own Royal Copenhagen. And Fiskars itself is a very old company. It was established in 1649, and they are carrying on the Royal Copenhagen tradition of producing stunning patterns in porcelain, and they're doing it in Thailand. Have a great day. Bye.